Hi, it's Betsy Koepke, mompreneur and personal transformation expert. Thank you for being here again. Super happy to have you here, ladies. And I'm wondering, have you ever been around other women who have decided to follow their passion or follow their dream or just like even take baby steps toward that, and you're like, hey, I kind of want to do some more of that. Like, oh yeah, I used to like to write. I think I want to take a writing class. Or, oh, I've always wanted to try yoga, but I just don't take the time for it. And this person's doing it, my friend's doing it. I want to live that way too, or start to live a little bit more of my own light and remember my true passions. So that voice that kicks in, that kind of like, what if, is that little glimmer or that little whisper of your soul starting to speak to you. And I get that really quickly those, well, I don't have the time, or I don't have the money, or I've got this going on in my life, I've got kids now, I can't, I could never. All those voices kick in, right? I remember that. Me too. I used to drive on my 45-minute commute to work, and I would like dream and have all of these what ifs, and very quickly though that internal dialogue of, oh, I could never, I got too many responsibilities right now, would shut that down. And then I'd get to work and I would like be doing my daily stuff and be like, I don't know, this just isn't quite fulfilling me, and like, do I really want to do this the rest of my life? So as I have taken the inspired action to choose to live a more inspired life, the 5 questions I want to share with you that I get asked by women the most often are these. The first question I get is, how do you balance it all, Betsy? And quite honestly, I have gotten some reactions from women on Facebook like, balance is bullshit, and it like is frustrating, and just the idea of it, just the word is a trigger point. And I get it, because it feels like I'm already trying to balance this all. If I disrupt this, if I really like go for something for myself, like how the heck is that going to work? And what I found is that what balance means for me is it's allowing some things to be a priority right now in this season for this phase, and some things are just going to have to be on the back burner for a bit. And it doesn't mean that I don't have the awareness of them. Like, yep, I can see my house is getting dirty. I can see that there's laundry piling up. I can see those dishes, and I will get to them. And I will cultivate my spouse and my children starting to pick up more of that. Like, how am I going to take this whole resource pie and start looking at it differently? Like, what are all my resources? And what can I pull in and when? It doesn't mean I have to do it all at once in a balanced way. It means I can take the aerial view of my whole lifestyle and I can start to chunk it in different ways. It's getting a bit more creative about how I view my whole lifestyle, so that I am intentionally, like, sometimes I'm hitting like 2 chunks of my life, career and relationships. And then I recognize, like, oh, I think I'm going to have to, really give some attention to the finances and my emotionality. And so that's kind of what I'm talking about with the balance thing and chunking things at different periods of time. All right, the number 2 question I get is, how has your husband reacted? How has this impacted your children? And even nuclear family. So if you don't have a partner right now, if you don't have kids, there's also the impact of the nuclear family, the parents, the siblings. So the context for that has so much to do with communication. So clearly communicating what the benefit is for you as an individual, as well as what your intention is and what you'd like to bring to the collective as you take these steps into personal growth. And just acknowledging that, yep, as you take some leaps of faith, and as you have the courage to live your life a little bit differently, that it is going to disrupt the status quo. And perhaps maybe that doesn't have to be a bad thing. If you're focusing on what's negative, and how it's going to cause problems, that's a non-starter. So focusing on what is the potential here for my growth and for the growth of others around me? What are the potential benefits? And what I've noticed is that my marriage has grown along with me. And when I continue to kind of keep pace and watch what's happening and communicate about, like, oh yeah, why are we doing this again? Why is this important for, me to carve out me time and feel replenished and nourished and all of that stuff? Well, because it serves the whole. It actually serves the whole. Okay, question number 3. What do you do about the outer circle? So those folks in your life, maybe co-workers or extended family members. So as you're making some different choices for yourself, and they're reacting like, oh, how could you think to do that? Or you're really going to take that kind of leap? Or you're really going to, isn't that kind of risky? And now it depends on what you're doing. If you're looking to, just launch out and start a business or something, you're probably going to hit up against more of that. So what do you do with that kind of feedback from other people? A couple things. One, you practice the boundaries of like, okay, this is probably triggering and activating some of their fears, like how much of this is their stuff versus mine, and just noticing that, and starting to notice like, who do I want to have these conversations with, and who do I want to, prioritize spending time with, and just exploring this with. And cultivating another network or a support network of people who are maybe of a similar mindset, maybe on a similar path. That is uber important as you're, taking leaps of faith and maybe taking more risk than you have up to this point. That's going to be a new kind of network that you're going to link up with, and it's uber supportive and helpful. All right, number 4 is, how do you overcome those fears and doubts, especially with what we've just layered on from your nuclear family and your extended network, so you got all this stuff coming at you. So how do you overcome those fears and doubts? How do you overcome what's in here? And it really is about, there becomes a point where the risk is worth it, where you can see that living this way, what's been going on here, is just, it's not worth it anymore. It's not working. And for some people this comes through crisis, so loss of a job or loss of a relationship or some other major disruption. For some people it comes from just being in such a supportive network around other people who are out there, living their best life. And they convince you, like, you can do this too. Yeah, totally. Like, get on over here, girl. You got this. And so that's how that can happen. And just really surrounding yourself by other people who are courage. Like, what's the opposite? I had a mentor say, Betsy, what's the opposite of fear? And I had to think about it for a while. And I was like, oh, courage. Okay. I'm going to focus on courage. I'm going to focus on courage. I'm going to focus on courage until I'm really feeling it in my system. All right, and number 5, this is a biggie, is, Betsy, how do you justify the investment? I've already talked a lot about the time investment, the monetary investment. How do you justify that? I would spend that money on my kids, I hear. I wouldn't spend that on myself. Like, that's not something we're used to, ladies. I know, I get it. I wasn't either. And it really takes the mindset shift of the benefits of this investment right now are worth it. They're worth it in the short term, they're worth it in the long term. Think about how often we go out shopping and we drop 100, 200, whatever amount of money kind of mindlessly, or on Amazon, and just mindlessly like, oh, that looks good, put that in the cart. This is something that is going to nourish your soul, ladies. Like, if that's not worth it, I don't know what is. So that's the shift we need to make there. And when we can make that for ourselves and understand that that has a ripple effect for those around us, it's like, it's almost selfish not to. What about that? Okay, ladies, here's the 5 things I want you to remember after you're done watching this video. Number 1, you are worth the time. Number 2, you are worth the monetary investment. Number 3, if it's good for you, it's good for those around you. Number 4, the timing has never been better, ladies, for us to define our purpose and live our true lights. with what's going on in the world, around the globe, this is our time. Number 5, finding your inner self, your bigger purpose is serving. This is a gift to humanity. In a few days, I'm going to send you an email inviting you into an opportunity to join myself and 20 other awesome women so that you can actually learn the process, go through these techniques, and we're going to define your purpose, and we're going to build in clarity, and you're going to be in that supportive network. It's built in, it's right there for us to do this work together.